All right. I think we can go ahead and get started. I will kick us off. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today and joining our free webinar, The Six Payroll Pitfalls and How FreshBooks Payroll Helps You Avoid Them. My name is Mary Rose Jarrett. I'm a product marketer here at FreshBooks, and I'm really excited to walk you through this crucial topic for every small business owner. I'll be your host today. Before we kick things off, I want to introduce our speakers. We've got two lovely speakers joining us today to share their expertise. Firstly, my colleague here at FreshBooks is Javed. She is a FreshBooks payroll product expert with nearly 4 years of experience developing and managing payroll products. And from our partners at Gusto, we have Mary O'Connor. She is a payroll expert with 5 years of experience working in small business payments and payroll. We also have in the chat Roscoe Shum. He is our payroll onboarding specialist here at FreshBooks. He's going to be moderating the comments. So if you're curious about getting started with FreshBooks payroll, we'll share his contact details at the end where you can book a meeting with him. But feel free to ask him questions during and after or at the end of the session as well. All right. So I'll go into our table of contents, what you can expect from our time today. We'll cover why accurate payroll matters, the 6 most common payroll pitfalls, how payroll software like FreshBooks Payroll can help, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A from you folks in the audience. So feel free to share questions as we sort of go through the webinar, but we'll address them at the end during the Q&A session. So to kick things off, I'm going to hand it over to Mary. Mary, take it away.
Thanks, Mary Rose. So today, as Mary Rose was just saying, we're going to talk about the common payroll mistakes, how they can cost you, and how you can avoid them in the first place. So a little bit about Gusto before we get started here. Gusto is a people platform that provides payroll, benefits, and team management tools, and it's used by over 400,000 small businesses across the United States. Now, Gusto has partnered with FreshBooks to offer payroll directly within the FreshBooks platform. It's FreshBooks Payroll powered by Gusto. Later on in this webinar, Isa will talk a little bit more about FreshBooks Payroll and how FreshBooks Payroll solves the payroll pitfalls we're going to talk about today. Before we dive in, just a quick disclaimer. Any information that we provide in connection with this presentation is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, accounting, or other professional advice of any kind. We recommend consultation with professional advisors to answer specific tax and legal questions. Okay, let's dive in. So the importance of accurate payroll. It may seem obvious, but employees want to get paid what they're owed, and businesses don't want to overpay or underpay taxes. So let's first start with compliance. Labor laws are often connected to how businesses pay their employees and contractors, and complying with those laws reduces the risk of hefty fines and penalties from federal, state, and local agencies like the IRS or Department of Labor. And then there's employee satisfaction. Nearly half of the employees surveyed would start looking for a new job after just 2 payroll errors. Payroll mistakes also diminish employee satisfaction overall, which can have an impact on your customer satisfaction too, if they are customer-facing roles. Ultimately, errors erode trust and may impact employee retention. And for you as employers, we know cash flow can be an issue. Accurate payroll and tax payments give you the most accurate picture of your business's financial health, including tracking labor costs, budgets, and tax obligations. And finally, there's time savings. Beyond saving time with payroll software, you're saving time responding to tax notices, fixing payroll errors, and issues like that. Okay, so let's talk about some common payroll mistakes. The first pitfall we're going to look at is the misclassifications of employees and contractors. This is a common mistake because sometimes business owners don't know the difference. At a high level, employees get W-2s and contractors get 1099s at the end of the year. This slide highlights some of the differences between an employee and a contractor, but let's take a closer look at a few. Let's say you hire a receptionist at your business, and you also have a person that helps you update your website from time to time. Most likely, your receptionist is an employee. You train them, you provide them with equipment, you pick their work schedule, and they are critical to your business. On the other hand, the person who updates your website is probably a contractor. They're using their own equipment. Maybe they're doing this as a side gig, and you don't need to train them. You've hired them because you know they know how to update your website already. They have a specific skill. Now you may be wondering, why does this matter? The misclassification of employees and contractors has consequences. It's important to note that contractors don't have taxes withheld from their pay the way that employees do. Instead, contractors are responsible for paying quarterly estimated taxes themselves. If an employee or contractor is misclassified, there may be penalties or back taxes due. Okay, let's move on to pitfall number 2, ignoring state and local tax nuances. At Gusto, we've found that there are about 15,000 changes to the tax code across all levels of the government every year. That is a lot to keep track of. Even without those changes, there's still a lot to keep track of. Sometimes there are school districts with their own taxes. In San Francisco, for example, employer payroll taxes can vary by neighborhood. Unemployment tax rates can also vary by business. The risks here are under or overpayment of taxes, which then can lead to audits and fines. Though admittedly, the government rarely gets mad if you overpay on taxes. While there are a lot of ways to avoid risks, a lot of them can be quite time consuming, especially if you're also busy running your business. One thing I do want to call out, though, is the need to keep track of exactly where your employees live and work, as that can impact minimum wages and tax rates. For example, this is a crazy story, so stay with me here. Here in the Bay Area, we have a mall that's on the border of 2 cities. So the employees at the sunglass store at one end of the mall get paid a different minimum wage than the employees at the same store at the other end of the mall. Okay, let's dive into pitfall number 3, the importance of accurate time tracking and overtime pay. To pay your employees accurately, especially hourly employees and those eligible for overtime, you need to track their time worked. In some cases, salaried employees earning below the federal government's threshold are still eligible for overtime. There are some other things to keep in mind too. Make sure you're rounding time correctly, tracking all hours your employees work, especially if they're hourly, making sure they are taking their legally mandated breaks, and paying overtime when necessary. The risks here are, of course, lengthy disputes that could lead to fines, penalties, and owing back pay. Luckily, there are ways to mitigate this risk. Using time tracking software that stores clock in and clock out records, communicate your policies to your employees in writing, and properly classify employees. Moving on to pitfall number 4, late payroll tax payments or insufficient payments and filings. Collecting and remitting payroll taxes on time and in the correct amount is critical to avoid facing any penalties and helping you maintain a predictable cash flow for your business. It's important to create a payroll calendar that aligns with any tax deadlines and stick to it. Likewise, it's helpful to set up automatic tax deposits whenever possible to ensure on-time payments. And finally, make sure you double check all due dates. Pay extra attention to deadlines that may fall on bank holidays because you may need to pay earlier. Pitfall number 5, insufficient payroll record keeping. You need to keep records of everything you've paid your employees, along with supporting documentation like time cards, just in case there's a complaint or an audit. While the exact number varies by jurisdiction and record type, you'll need to store records for years in case of a complaint or audit. Your best option here is to store these records digitally, especially if you're using a software for your time clock and payroll. That way, you don't need to worry about physical storage, and the records are easily searchable when needed. And last but not least, pitfall number 6, failing to keep up with changing regulations. As I mentioned previously, at Gusto, we have counted over 15,000 tax code changes in a single year across federal, state, and local agencies. Again, that is a lot to keep track of. And of course, you need to stay up to date on the latest rules and changes too. For example, changing that overtime threshold for salaried employees. I mentioned earlier that has been going back and forth in courts for a while now. Otherwise, you may risk penalties or reputational damage. There are a few ways you can stay up to date. 1. Subscribe to email updates from relevant trade groups in your industry as well as government agencies. 2. Review these websites regularly for changes. 3. Attend conferences and trainings when you can. 4. Consult with a tax and legal professional who can help guide you. And lastly, use software like FreshBooks Payroll to handle some of this automatically. Now I'm going to go over some other common payroll risks. This may be simple, but getting pay schedules right is really important. A common place where we see confusion is paying people bi-weekly or semi-monthly. A bi-weekly payroll schedule, meaning a person is paid every 2 weeks, has 26 pay periods. A semi-monthly pay schedule, where employees are paid twice a month, has 24 pay periods. Of course, regardless of what pay period you choose, it's important to stick to it and run payroll on time in advance of the pay date so there's enough time to transfer the money. Then there's contractor payments. Even though you don't withhold any money from contractor payments for taxes, you still need to have a W-9 form on file for every contractor and issue a 1099 for every contractor paid over $600 in a year. Then there's unemployment taxes. As I mentioned earlier, unemployment taxes are one of those things that not only vary by jurisdiction, but can also vary by industry. It's important to know the applicable unemployment tax rate to avoid underpayment or overpayment. And finally, this is a bit of an unusual one, but you are required to report any gift cards or cash equivalents you give employees as income. Okay, hopefully I haven't scared you all too much. I do have some good news. There are payroll services and payroll software that can help mitigate a lot of these risks for you automatically. Let's take a look. First, we talked about late or inaccurate payroll. With a payroll service, payroll is calculated automatically and can oftentimes move faster than a typical 4-day bank-to-bank transfer. This is great if you're worried about cash flow, because you may end up with an extra couple days before you have to run payroll and transfer money out of your bank account, but your employees are still paid on time. Second, we looked at incorrect employee classification. While payroll services won't make the determination for you on whether a person is a contractor or an employee, they can help guide you through the process and ensure they are paid correctly based on your classification. Next, we talked about state and local tax nuances. Payroll software can be a huge time saver here if the service also files your state and local taxes on your behalf. Likewise, services like FreshBooks Payroll will also receive an attempt to resolve tax notices on your behalf. Then we looked at the risks of incorrect time tracking and overtime payments. Payroll software can help here too by facilitating easy transfers from your employee time clock, if you use one, and automating overtime tracking. Then there's the late tax payments and filings. Using a payroll service helps you manage tax deadlines and avoid related penalties and interests. The payroll service will file, withhold, and pay taxes on your behalf. After that, we looked at the risks associated with insufficient record keeping. Good news here too. With an online payroll service, your pay records are stored securely in the cloud. They're searchable and accessible from anywhere. And that's true for your employees too. They can view their pay history via the employee portal as well. Finally, we examine the risks associated with failing to keep up with new tax rules and regulations. This is a key advantage with web-based payroll services. You're always up to date on the latest rules impacting payroll with no cumbersome software downloads. Even better, there's a team of people behind the scenes researching and implementing these tax code changes on your behalf. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you for taking the time to join today. One last thing before I hand it back to Mary Rose. Every year, tens of thousands of business owners and admins like you join FreshBooks as one option to automate payroll and help address the pitfalls we discussed today and make it easier for your employees to get paid too. I just want to share a message from our CEO and founder. It all comes back to solving for the pain points that small businesses like you face in the tools you're already using. So Gusto has partnered with FreshBooks to save time, connect data and workflows, and customize a payroll solution that's powered by Gusto's technology. With that, I will pass it back to Mary Rose and the FreshBooks team so that you can learn a little bit more about the payroll. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Really, really insightful stuff. I'm sure that the business owners in the audience can really appreciate how complicated navigating the world of payroll can be. So we really appreciate you taking the time to share these tips and tricks with us. I'm now going to hand things over to Iza to share more on how FreshBooks Payroll specifically fits into the solution that so many small business owners are seeking. So Iza, please take it away.
Thanks, Mary Rose. Hey, everyone. So now that we've reviewed our common payroll pitfalls that can cause headaches for any business owner, let's shift our focus to the solution. How robust payroll software like FreshBooks Payroll can transform these challenges into seamless, stress-free operations. So, at this point, you might be thinking payroll keeps me up at night. You're not alone. The complexities of taxes, compliance, and accurate payments can be overwhelming. But with FreshBooks Payroll, these sleepless nights can become a thing of the past. We've designed FreshBooks Payroll to be intuitive and comprehensive, addressing the core reasons why payroll can be so daunting. So, what exactly can FreshBooks Payroll do for you? It's more than just a payment processor. It's a seamless solution designed to simplify your financial life. We're going to dive into some of the key features that directly tackle the pitfalls we discussed earlier, ensuring your business stays compliant and your team is paid accurately and on time. So first, let's talk about seamless and intuitive payroll. Imagine running your entire payroll with just a few clicks right within your FreshBooks account. No more manual data entry errors or juggling multiple platforms or logins. FreshBooks Payroll automates the entire process from calculating wages to managing benefits, ensuring accuracy and saving you valuable time. This directly addresses pitfalls like incorrect time tracking and miscalculations as the system handles the heavy lifting. So imagine this. You set up payroll, got approved, and you're now ready to start running payroll. You log into FreshBooks, pick your pay period, and enter in your hours worked. You also enter in any bonuses or reimbursements. We calculate the taxes for you and the taxes that your employees owe. and everything is ready for you to review. You submit your payroll, take note of the date your employees are getting paid, and that's it. You're done. That's how simple running payroll can be with FreshBooks Payroll. One of the most powerful aspects of FreshBooks Payroll is its integration with our other financial management tools. FreshBooks consolidates billing, bookkeeping, and payroll into one easy-to-use platform. This means that payroll expenses are automatically recorded with every pay run, providing you with a complete and accurate picture of your finances. You can even generate reports when you need them, giving you the insights to make informed business decisions. This seamless integration helps avoid pitfalls related to insufficient record keeping and provides clear data for audits. Tools like this also really come in handy when your business is going through changes. As your business grows and you consider if or when to bring on another team member, you can easily view payroll reporting from FreshBooks to know exactly what costs to expect should you choose to grow your team. And the best bit is that you can do all of it within one platform. No more toggling between tabs, memorizing multiple logins, or fumbling through spreadsheets. Confidently paying your team within minutes is no longer a dream. With FreshBooks Payroll, you get unlimited payroll runs, and convenient payment options. Whether you're bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or on a monthly schedule, running payroll is quick and easy. Say goodbye to paper checks with fast direct deposit speeds. Plus, our new benefits recording feature allows you to record benefit deductions for each pay run, making year-end a breeze. This directly combats the pitfalls of late or insufficient payroll payments by streamlining the entire process. And we're not stopping there. Soon, you'll be able to integrate payroll with FreshBooks time tracking feature, which will allow you to automatically import time when you run payroll, eliminating the need for you to manually add hours each pay period. Now, perhaps one of the biggest challenges in payroll is staying on top of the ever-changing laws and compliance regulations, like Mary talked about earlier too. FreshBooks Payroll simplifies this by providing automated payroll tax filings and payments. That's right, we file taxes for you. We keep track of IRS changes and guidelines, reducing manual errors and eliminating fines. You'll remain compliant with state and federal payroll tax laws, and we even handle forms like W-2s and 1099s. This will directly address the pitfall of ignoring state and local tax nuances and failing to keep up with changing regulations. Let's be real. You probably did not start your business because you wanted to become an expert in navigating the IRS's daunting rules and regulations. With FreshBooks Payroll, you don't have to take on that role. You can spend less time stressing about what's around the corner and spend more time adding value for your clients and growing your business. So that's all for me. I'll hand it back to you, Mary Rose.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isa and Mary. Really appreciate you both taking the time to join us today. We've covered a lot of ground. So what we would love to do now is hear from you in the audience. Please feel free to share your questions in the Q&A. I do just want to caveat, to echo what Mary shared earlier, we cannot provide any sort of legal or tax advice related to payroll. We do have an advisor directory. If you're curious about any tax or legal questions, feel free to visit the link that is on that slide there to connect with a tax professional who would specialize in your type of business or who's in your area. But please feel free to share any questions that you have for us about FreshBooks Payroll specifically in the Q&A. I will open that up here and see what we've got. Okay. What websites do you recommend for staying up to date on labor laws? Mary, do you want to give some suggestions there?
Definitely. So you can start with like Department of Labor at the federal level. Then there's, state and local departments of labor that also have, more regional and local updates. I would say those are typically like good starting places. I don't know who asked that question, but yeah, if, for example, I was curious about California, I would, start at the state level and then look specific to my county here in Santa Cruz.
Thanks, Mary. That question was from an anonymous attendee, but if you want to put your name in the chat, we'd be happy to share some resources with you after the webinar, like the ones that Mary suggested just now. Let's see. Inez asked, what is the percentage of employer costs going from W-2 from paying 1099? This is a question I think I would want to refer you to a tax professional regarding. Um, uh, I don't think it's something that we would be able to answer for you here today, Inez, but what we can do is we'll share with you after the webinar the link to our advisor directory, and you can search for an advisor or a tax professional in your area or by business type specialty, and they should be able to answer that question for you better than myself, Mary, or Isa would be able to. All right, another question here from an anonymous attendee. I have a couple of employees, but they have set schedule that doesn't change every week. So their paychecks don't change week to week. What should I pay for payroll rather than just doing bank or Zelle transfer? So what I'm understanding is that they're on like a salary that doesn't change from week to week rather than say like an hourly employee. And if that is correct, you can pay salaries through FreshBooks Payroll. And that would have all of that sort of tax information collected for every pay run, and you can set it on a weekly schedule. If that would be, if that, hopefully that answers your question there, if I'm understanding correctly. I'm also seeing a couple questions in the chat. So just while we wait for any more in the Q&A, it looks like we have here, what is the difference between using Gusto or using Gusto via FreshBooks? And I'll just reiterate the response here, just in case anyone else is curious, but we did get a response in the chat. So FreshBooks Payroll uses the Gusto system, but it's embedded into the FreshBooks platform. So you have that sort of all-in-one solution. Gusto may be a better option for your business, depending on how complex your payroll process is. If you're looking to, manage employee benefits through Gusto, like you're looking to purchase benefits, that would be a good option. But it's essentially Gusto tech embedded into the FreshBooks platform. I'm seeing some more questions in the Q&A, so I'm just going to pop back there. Is it okay to pay myself flat $1,000 for a few months, then increase it to $3,000 per month and later reduce it back to $1,000? Are there any restrictions on doing this? I would suggest connecting with a tax professional on this, because what you pay yourself is going to be dependent on some tax implications for you and your business. So you'd want to connect with a tax accountant on that. If you'd like to share your details, we can again link you to our advisor directory as well. Someone saying, I use Gusto and FreshBooks. That's amazing. You absolutely can use Gusto and use FreshBooks. If you haven't already, we have an integration with Gusto that's slightly different than our FreshBooks Payroll product. And essentially what that integration is going to do is it will import your payroll expenses from Gusto into FreshBooks so that your reporting and your books are all up to date there. So you don't have to do that manual entry of data from one platform to another.
Yeah, I'll just add there, and similar to the earlier question, like Gusto versus Gusto via FreshBooks, I think the real benefit is not having to toggle between two systems, right? And constantly going back and forth. It's just the ease of like, okay, I have so many things as a business that I need to do, and like this is the last thing that I want to spend my time on. And so just being able to open up one platform, one system is really the benefit here. I would say is like the major call out there.
All right, I'm seeing a few more questions here. If you have an S corp with only one owner who does all the work, how do unemployment taxes work? Is it still something that is required, even though I would never be able to take advantage of it? Again, I would suggest asking this question with a tax professional, as they would understand best how filing like unemployment taxes or paying unemployment taxes would work for you and your business. And again, if you want to share your information, we're happy to share resources to our advisor directory. I think we've got another question here. Does FreshBooks Payroll manage deductions/benefits or SEP contributions? Isa, I will hand that one off to you.
Yeah, for sure. Great question. So we do offer the recording of contributions or deductions. So specifically, the ask was on the SEP type, which we offer. I think it's SAR SEP, SARSEP, and SEP IRA. So there's two types of SEP benefits that we do manage. But to be clear, what that means is that you would need to move the money on your own. You would need to create the accounts on your own. But FreshBooks would be able to record that contribution amount, adjust taxes based on it if needed, and also show those contributions on your pay stubs as well as on the tax forms. So all the management and the recording of those benefits would be handled, but it would be your responsibility to move the money and create the systems to move that money into the accounts, figure out how much needs to be contributed, and all of that that part of it.
Great. Thanks so much, Isa. Just going to double check to see if we've got all the questions here. I think we have covered everything. I'll just add one more note to that question about benefits. If you are interested in purchasing benefits through FreshBooks, this isn't something that we offer currently, but it is something that we are exploring. So if there is a certain type of benefit that you would be interested in purchasing through FreshBooks to have it all in one place, please share that feedback with us. We'd love to hear what current FreshBooks customers would be interested in, as that would really help us to explore what options we'll be able to offer in the hopefully near future. I'll just give it a few more moments to see if there are any other questions from the audience. Anonymous question. I already use a payroll provider. Is there a reason to switch? There could be a number of reasons why you would want to switch your payroll provider. Not every payroll provider is going to offer the same level of service or the same capabilities. What I will say about FreshBooks Payroll is the real benefit to having FreshBooks Payroll is that you do get a lot of your financial management tools all in one platform. So like we've mentioned, you really don't have to go toggling between multiple different platforms or updating spreadsheets and then updating another platform. It really has that all in one. So you can think of it like you've got your payroll, but you've also got payments, you've got reporting, invoicing, we have our time tracking feature. So there's a whole host of features that will help you run your business in one platform for a really relatively affordable fee, which I think speaks to this next question that we've got in the chat. What is the cost to run payroll through FreshBooks? So to run FreshBooks Payroll, it is a $40 subscription fee, and that is billed monthly. And then there is a $6 fee per person per month for the people that you are paying. So if you are just paying yourself, it would be $40 a month plus $6. But if you're paying yourself and an employee, then it would be $40 plus $12 per month, and so on and so forth. FreshBooks Payroll is available on any of the FreshBooks Payroll plans. So that includes Light, Premium, Plus, and Select. But you do have to have a FreshBooks plan to run payroll through FreshBooks. Just give it a few more moments. Okay, I think that covers all of the questions. So we will just quickly wrap up here. If there are any further questions that come through the chat or the Q&A, I'll answer them before we finish up here. But a couple of next steps for folks on the call. If you are interested in payroll, we would suggest signing up for FreshBooks Payroll. We have a QR code here you can scan. This will connect you with Roscoe, our onboarding specialist. He is phenomenal. He can give you tons of support during your onboarding process, walk you through how to run payroll, how to get all of your historical information set up. And then once you're all set up and you get your FreshBooks Payroll account up and running, you can run your first payroll. The sooner you run your first payroll, the sooner you'll get access to our 2-day direct deposit speed. So there's no time like today to get started with setting up FreshBooks Payroll. And if you have any questions, feel free to book that call with Roscoe at the QR code there, and he'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, walk you through. All right, let me just double check to see if we have any other questions here before we wrap up. I think that is everything. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And again, thank you to Mary and Isa for joining us and sharing your expertise. We really appreciate your time, your attention, all the questions that you asked in the chat. This was great. We hope this presentation has provided you with some valuable insights into simplifying the payroll process with FreshBooks. And we'll leave you all with that. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and have a great rest of your day wherever you are.